You got it. No, no. Okay, wonderful. Jet, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate
Of
it.
course. Thank you.
So I wanted to know what attracted you to this project.
Well, I also love big monster movies. I was, I as a kid, I loved King Kong as well. So when Chris told me that, he was making a movie that had big monsters in it, I mean, that was like a really big one for me. And then I realized like how heavily he actually really loved the monster movies and what he was using to sort of like inspire him. And it was like some of my favorite movies. And I just felt like he was really trying to do something that pushed animation as a medium. And I felt like that's everything that I want to try to do right now. So those are the two biggest things, really.
The movie is absolutely beautiful. From what I have seen of it, it's alive, it's colorful, it's bright and bold, and it mesmerizes you, especially the beasts. I think it's very cool.
Awesome.
So sorry, something popped up on the screen. So I wanted to know, was this film filmed during COVID? How did you guys how did you film in
Yeah.
general, and then with the talent?
Yeah, I mean, so what we did was we had about a year and a half or so where we were all together, right? So we were
Right.
just, just sort of normal workday kind of feel. And then once the pandemic hit, we all had to go home. So we had about 2 years of production that we made the movie from home, and all of us basically in our homes, including all of our artists at Sony Pictures Imageworks. So
Wow.
yeah, so we moved digitally very quickly actually, and changed our workflows in some cases to try to sort of meet the demand and keep ourselves at pace and continuing to make the movie. So yeah, so it was quite a bit actually. More than half of the movie was done in the pandemic. In terms of like recording our actors and things like that, I think Joyce put some of the stats up there, but I think more than half of them were done at home. Or depending on where they were, we weren't in the recording booth because of limitations within the recording studios. So we would have talent come to the recording studio, and then we would zoom into them actually and do it that way, as opposed to a sort of a live session where we're all there. Yeah,
That's amazing.
I know, it's
You'd
crazy.
never, I mean, thank God you'd never be able to tell, but that is absolutely amazing.
I know. You talk about like having your kids walk in like during meetings and stuff like that. I mean, that's exactly, I mean, dealing with all that, you sort of definitely get a taste for like people in their home lives a little bit more than what you do at the office. That's for sure. I mean, I did every 2 years out of my bedroom was where my desk is,
Yes.
So
Yes.
it's nothing more awkward than meeting new people and you have your bed behind you. It's like so strange. But it was definitely daunting. I mean, this would have been a hard movie to do without a pandemic,
Right.
because of its scope and its scale and its complexity. But we made it work. We
You
got
absolutely did make it work. It's
it.
absolutely beautiful. What would you like your audience goers to learn after, or to, if not necessarily learn, but what would you want them to take away after watching the
Yeah.
movie?
I mean, I think, the thing for me is like, first of all, it's like, I hope they have a great time. Like, I want them to be immersed and feel like, wow, this is an adventure. I'm on the edge of my seat. I'm breathless. So many things are happening and unexpected. But, I mean, I think the other is like this idea of like, well, partially of what can we do with animation, which is anything. We can tell any kind of story. We can do any kind of movie that we want. It's just about the audience willingness to sort of be immersed and take it in. And then the other, I think, is there's a real strong sort of vengeance theme in this movie, and sort of the emptiness of vengeance, right, and revenge, and that void that is created doesn't necessarily get filled by doing this thing that you think you're supposed to be doing, and that like you actually have to find that within yourself and the people around you to try to like heal yourself. And going after this thing or doing this doing this violent act to try to get retribution is empty, and it's hollow, and it's not going to fill that void. And I think it's a great lesson, actually.
I loved it. I love the diversity of your cast. I
Yes.
think that's absolutely spectacular, because there are going to be children that are going to watch it and they're going to say, that's me on the screen. And I love that. I absolutely love that. So I commend you guys on that. And I wanted
Thank
to
you.
know the talent that you had, your cast, was everybody your first choice? Or did you guys come up with the character and say, okay, I want this person? Or was the character made specifically for anybody?
Yeah, not so much made for anybody. I mean, a lot of these characters really were born in Chris's head and on the pages that he wrote. And then, as we iterate, right, Chris walked through this, but as we iterate, those characters change and they evolve a little bit. And it's not until we get a little bit down the road that we really start thinking about some of the voice talent and everything. So none of the characters are really made for the actors. I think what we usually do is we start to think about, okay, what are some ideas? And we usually, we have a casting director that helps us. And so we think about, like, what are some ideas, and what are some ideas that feel like it's right in line? And what are some ideas that feel like it's not, but it could still work? And then you sort to roll all those together. And then we listen to people. I mean, that's the other thing, is like, we get used to actors watching actors in TV and film, but for animation, it's really just their voice and then everything else, right? So lots of times we're playing clips where we have the screen off and it's just black, or we just have a picture of the character up, and then we're listening to clips from, The Boys or The Terror or something, like, right? And that's a lot of our process of getting there and trying to figure out, is like, is this going to work? And then we'll do like a fake like scene where it's like, it's clips of Carl Urban and clips of Captain Crow, and they're sort of like, it's nonsensical, but you get to hear them off of each other and get to hear their voices together. And I think that's another real useful tool for us, actually.
That is actually really cool.
Yeah, that's cool. Joyce and her team is the ones that put that together and sort of help us engineer that so that we can really kind of make the most informed decision possible.
That's amazing. Have you seen the movie in its entirety?
Oh, yes, several times.
Okay, so tell me, what did you think, and would you have tweaked anything?
It's hard. You're so close to it. You know what I mean? It's really hard to like feel like you're looking at it through like a real objective lens. Sometimes, especially towards the end, where you've been living with it and living with the choices for so long. I don't think there's anything that I would tweak, but like I do think that I've had some space, and then I've watched it since, we've kind of wrapped it. And like, there's a feeling that you get, and I got to watch it with my family, actually, with my kids. Oh. And it was like one of those things which is like, that's actually the real indicator for me, is I get to sit next to like normal people, not animate, not people in our business, or not people on our crew, and like to see them react and feel it and get immersed in the world and everything. I mean, to me, that's the reward, and that's really what I'm striving for always. So to have experienced that, it gives me confidence in the movie, which I really already had, but it also, because I'm so close to it, it gives me a little bit more. I can feel like subjectively I can say that now a little bit more.
Oh, that's amazing. What did your kids say?
Oh, they loved it. They loved it. I mean, that's actually one of the things about the pandemic that was amazing, is that, I've been working in animation for 20 something years, but this was the first time that a couple of my kids really got to see anything that much behind the scenes, right? Because I'm there every day in my bedroom. They come home from school and Animation Dailies is happening. So they sit in the corner over here, so they can't be seen on camera, but they're watching and they're listening. And so they're getting to see behind the scenes, and I think actually now they have a greater understanding of what my job is, but even how we make an animated film. So that was actually kind of a special thing for me too.
It's super cool. I tell my kiddo wants to be an animator, and I was just before the pandemic, we used to go into the studios and we would sit down and interview, right? And they teach us about storyboards. And so I was explaining to my son, you have to create a storyboard, and then you create the story. And so he's been doing that, and it's so funny not funny. It's interesting to see him absorb it and how it's evolving in his mind, right? And how in the creating. And I think yourself and you guys are such amazing inspirations, and I want to thank you for what you do and who you are, and how you followed your dreams, because you inspire other children to grow up to be like you. I know you guys probably don't see that a lot, and they people are like, oh, I want to be so, but no, there's like my kiddo, he looks at you guys and he goes, tell me, what did you learn from him, and how did he get to where he needs to go? So it's like, it's amazing. So I want to thank you for everything that you do.
Of course. Oh, thank you for saying that. That's very kind of you. Thank you.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate your time, Jed. Thank you for everything. And the movie is spectacular. From what I've seen so far, it's spectacular.
Great. Well, I can't wait for you to be able to finish it and enjoy it. And thank you so much for your time and jumping into this.
Thank you. Have
Yeah.
a good day.
Take care. You too. Thanks.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye-bye.